Let's play a game. Imagine it's the year 1995. Someone tells you they make $100,000 a year. What do you picture? A nice house? A nice car? A yearly vacation? A giant television that's considered cutting edge? Technology despite weighing as much as a refrigerator? In short, you picture someone doing pretty well. Now, let's fast forward to today. Someone says they make $100,000 a year. And their response is, "Please don't ask about my student loans." Somewhere along the way, six figures stopped sounding rich and started sounding tired, which raises an obvious question. How can someone make $100,000 a year and still feel broke? The answer is surprisingly simple. A lot of people aren't actually comparing their income to reality. They're comparing it to what $100,000 used to mean, and those are very different numbers. Let's start with inflation, the economic phenomenon that's basically a polite way of saying everything costs more now. Good luck. Imagine a stick figure earning $100,000. The stick figure feels successful. The stick figure feels accomplished. Then the stick figure goes grocery shopping. Now, the stick figure feels attacked. Inflation quietly changes what money can buy. The number on your paycheck might be bigger than your parents' paycheck. But what matters is purchasing power. And purchasing power has been getting into fistfights with prices for years. The result? Many people earn more dollars than previous generations, but feel like those dollars are weaker. Like money has been going to the gym less often. But inflation is only part of the story. The real heavyweight, champion of destroying budgets, is housing. Let's imagine two stick figures. One bought a house 20 years ago, the other is trying to buy one today. The first stick figure bought a nice home for an amount that sounds completely made up to modern buyers. The second stick figure looks at house prices and briefly considers living inside a Costco. Housing costs have exploded in many parts of the United States, and housing isn't optional. You can't unsubscribe from shelter. Well, technically you can, but the experience is generally not recommended. Financial experts often suggest spending around 30% of your income on housing. Many Americans laugh at this advice, not because it's wrong, but because reality laughed first. In some cities, housing can consume an enormous chunk of take-home pay, which means even a six-figure salary starts shrinking very quickly. Then comes childcare, which is one of the few expenses capable of making college tuition look reasonable. Parents already have enough responsibilities. They don't need to discover it. That daycare costs roughly the same as financing a small yacht. For many families, childcare is one of the largest expenses they face, sometimes rivaling a mortgage payment, which is impressive because one of those things watches your children, and the other is a building. Then we arrive at healthcare, America's favorite economic roller coaster. In many countries, people worry about getting sick. In America, people worry about getting sick and receiving mail afterward. Health insurance, deductibles, copays, out-of-network charges, the mysterious bill that arrives 6 months later from a doctor you've never met. Healthcare expenses can hit households from directions previously thought impossible, and even people with good insurance can face substantial costs. Next up, debt, student loans, car loans, credit cards, personal loans. At this point, some people's monthly budget resembles a group project where every lender wants participation points. A $100,000 salary sounds impressive, until 5 different financial obligations arrive demanding their share. Everyone wants a piece of the paycheck: the landlord, the bank, the insurance company, the government, the student loan servicer, the streaming services. And somehow, the streaming services seem the happiest about it. Then there's something economists don't always talk about enough. Lifestyleinflation.org, as it's more commonly known. Now that I make more money, I accidentally spend more money. This happens all the time. You get a raise, you move into a nicer apartment, you buy a nicer car, you upgrade your phone, you start ordering appetizers without consulting your financial advisor. Nothing feels extravagant. Each decision seems reasonable, but over time, expenses rise to match income. It's like your lifestyle is secretly tracking your salary. The moment you earn more, it immediately develops expensive hobbies. And here's the really sneaky part. A lot of Americans making $100,000 don't live in average America. They live in expensive America. There's a huge difference. A $100,000 salary in a low-cost area And a $100,000 salary in places like New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Boston, or Seattle can feel like entirely different worlds. The same paycheck, different realities. It's the economic version of bringing a water pistol to a forest fire. Then there's taxes, the least surprising plot twist in any financial story. When people hear $100,000 salary, they often imagine the full $100,000 landing safely in a bank account. That is adorable. Federal taxes, state taxes, payroll taxes, potential local taxes. The paycheck begins shrinking before you've even had the opportunity to spend it. Irresponsibly, the difference between gross income and take-home income can be eye-opening or depressing. Sometimes both. But there's another reason people feel broke: comparison, the unofficial national sport. Humans are terrible at evaluating wealth in absolute terms. We evaluate it relative to other people. A person making $100,000 in a room of people making $50,000 feels wealthy. The same person in a neighborhood full of millionaires suddenly feels behind. The actual income didn't change, only the comparison changed. Social media makes this even worse. Every day we're exposed to people posting luxury vacations, luxury homes, luxury cars, luxury lifestyles. Nobody uploads, "Here's me responsibly contributing to my retirement account." That video gets 12 views. One of them is an accountant. Instead, people compare their normal life to everyone else's highlight reel, and that's a battle nobody wins. Now, here's the twist. Many Americans making $100,000 aren't actually broke. They're often doing significantly better than average. They may have retirement, contributions, home equity, investments, emergency savings. The problem isn't always financial reality. Sometimes it's financial pressure, because being middle class today often feels expensive. Being upper middle class feels expensive. And in high-cost cities, even high earners can feel squeezed. Feeling broke and being broke are not always the same thing. Someone earning $100,000 may be building wealth while simultaneously feeling stressed. Those experiences can exist at the same time. And that's what makes this topic so confusing. When people hear six figures, they imagine luxury. But many six-figure earners are experiencing something much less glamorous. They're paying bills, they're saving for retirement, they're handling debt, they're covering childcare, they're dealing with housing costs, they're trying to keep up with expenses that seem determined to break personal records every year. In other words, they're doing math. Lots of math, enough math to qualify for an honorary accounting degree. So why do Americans making $100,000 still feel broke? Because prices rose, housing became expensive, healthcare became expensive, childcare became expensive, debt became common, taxes still exist, and lifestyles tend to expand alongside income. The result is a strange modern reality. A six-figure salary is still a good income. It's just not the automatic ticket to financial freedom people imagine, at least not everywhere, and perhaps that's the biggest lesson. Making $100,000 doesn't guarantee you'll feel rich. It simply guarantees that more companies will assume you can afford their premium plan, which, coincidentally, is only $19.99 a month, plus taxes, plus fees, plus another subscription you forgot to cancel 3 years ago.